What's going on, Jerome's with Brian Flores in the building as the new Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. All the talk of he's going to ramp up the aggression, he's going to get after on defense is fantastic. But who specifically benefits? Cui bono. Like, who benefits from Brian Flores coming in as DC? Well, we have 10 Vikings that Brian Flores in as the Vikings new defense coordinator benefits. Number one, Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith, even though he's getting up there in age, even though his contract is potentially going to be an issue this offseason, I think that if and when Harry the Hitman is back in 2023, I think that he has a chance to have one of his best seasons, not only of like the last couple of years, but of his career, where I think that Harrison Smith, even though he had 5 interceptions last year, had a relatively good season in the Dontel scheme, you could tell that there was a governor being put on that engine. And one of the best things that Zimmer ever did is that he let Harrison Smith do Harrison Smith things. And I think Brian Flores is going to use Harrison Smith like the Joker of the deck, the queen of the chessboard. He's just going to put him all over the place. And, Harrison, even though, coverage-wise, as he's getting older, maybe you do lose a step, but he certainly can still hit. He certainly can still read a defense. He certainly can still be down in the box and making plays. He certainly can still blitz. And I think that Harrison Smith has a chance to. Harrison Smith might get double-digit sacks, and that's a little bit of a hyperbole, but not really. And just going back to loading up the box and taking chances and going zero blitz, going cover one, and just getting after it, that's what Brian Flores is going to do with his Vikings defense. And Harrison Smith, Harrison does his best work down in the box. Like, he's not a split coverage. He's not a single high safety anymore. But he is a guy that can just wreak havoc on defenses, whether it's blitzing, delayed blitz, setting the edge against the run. He can do all that. And I think Brian Flores is smart enough to realize that he needs to let Harrison Smith be Harrison friggin' Smith. And I think that he will if he's back in 2023. Next up, number 2, Brian Asamoah. So I am very bullish on the future of Brian Asamoah. I think that he is the prototype of what off-ball linebackers need to be in the National Football League. They need to be light. They need to be able to run. They need to be able to cover. And Asamoah is a big play machine. We saw it in the first Giants game where he's going to make a play that changes the game. He brings an energy and exuberance to this defense that it sorely needs. And I think that he... given Flores' background with linebackers, I think that he has a chance to be an absolute star. And also, I think he's being underutilized. I think that him as a pass rusher and a blitzer is certainly going to be interesting. I think that he has a chance to be a Jerome Baker type linebacker like Flores made him with the Dolphins, or a Kyle Van Noy when they had crossover with the Patriots. I think that Asamoah has a chance to be the true Joker of this defense and an absolute breakout star. Next up, Viking number 3, who greatly benefits from Brian Flores, DB Cameron Bynum. Now, I love me some Cam Beasley. I understand that some fans are sort of sour on him because of the way that things ended up in the back end of the season. A lot of busted plays, a lot of miscommunication, and Bynum was at the forefront of a lot of it. There's no other way around it. But I think that Bynum's versatility has been woefully underutilized. He was a cornerback at Cal. I think that he could work in the slot, and just putting him at free safety or a split safety, I think that greatly underutilized his talents. And also, like, using him as a blitzer, I think that can do that. And you look at how Flores used Eric Rowe, who is a versatile defensive back, not a star, but a guy that can play free safety, box safety in the slot. He can play outside corner. He can do all those things. And having versatility and moving guys around, it can confuse offenses. It allows you to disguise coverages, allows you a lot of flexibility, and I think that Cameron Bynum can be that guy. I think that Bynum can be a souped-up Eric Rowe, where use Bynum as a corner, use Bynum in the slot as a big nickel, use him as a safety, and just use his ball skills as well as tackling ability. It's underutilized as right now. I think that Flores has to look at Bynum and be like, we're going to greatly expand his role in 2023. Next up, number 4, Lewis Cine. So, we said that using Harrison Smith more as a de facto linebacker, using Cameron Bynum as a DB as opposed to just a safety, that's obviously going to open things up for Lewis Cine, where I think that you need a sheriff on the back end of that defense. You need an enforcer. You need that hammer. And I think Lewis Cine is just going to be allowed to be him. All right, and so just Brian Flores finding a role for a guy who's motivated, has a chip on his shoulder, and can absolutely bring the wood in a legal way. even though it's hard to tackle as a defensive back nowadays. But I think that Cine is going to be that enforcer on the back end, and Flores is going to find a way to involve all three of the Viking safeties. Next up, number 5, all the cornerbacks. So I was going to list them individually, but everything is up in the air. Whether it's Duke Shelley, whether it's Cam Beasley, Cameron Dantzler, whether it's Caleb Evans, if he can stay healthy, whether it's Andrew Booth Jr., if he can stay healthy. All of these guys excel in press man, or at least they have the skill set to do that. But they didn't last year. You saw the way that Duke Shelley was nothing you can do can make me untrue to my guy, Duke Shelley, because I'm stuck on him like glue, just like he's stuck on receivers, man. And all of them, like, going to this more aggressive scheme. They're going to be up on the line of scrimmage, because guess what? You got 7 men in the box. 5 of them or 6 of them are coming on the blitz, and you're press man across the board, and you're betting that your corners can cover for 2 to 3 seconds for the blitz to get there. And that's what you're going to do. And that's something that we're champing at the bit, that we wanted Donatell to just be more aggressive. And I think that the cornerbacks certainly have that skill set. Now, I think it does mean that Patrick Peterson is probably not going to be back in terms of what is needed from the cornerbacks. But, I mean, all of them, especially if Bynum can stay, especially if Dantzler can stay healthy, especially if Booth and Caleb Evans can stay healthy. I mean, the talent is there. And also, they're probably going to be looking to add a cornerback in free agency or high in the draft, because that's the way that Flores' defense is built, from the back to the front. Next up, number 6, Danielle Hunter, where Danielle Hunter, it was frustrating, and you saw it in the first half of the season. Danielle wasn't as productive as the back end, but he figured things out as he adapted to his new role as stand-up outside linebacker. But I think that Flores is smart enough to realize that Danielle Hunter is best utilized as a hand-in-the-dirt edge rusher, right? And put his hand in the dirt, play 4-tech, play 5-tech, play whatever tech, and just let him get after it and hunt the quarterback, as opposed to when he's dropping in coverage, as opposed to when he's not rushing the quarterback or doing this and that. I think that Danielle, if he stays, and we had our doubts, like if the Vikings stay in a 3-4, if you're Danielle or his agent, potentially pushing his way out of town. But I think the Vikings, they sell him on Brian Flores. I think that Flores' defense is going to sell itself as well. I think they're going to extend Danielle. I think they'll go from there. Next up, Viking number 7 that the Flores hire benefits, Za'Darius Smith, where Za'Darius, 3-4 guru, got after it in the first half of the season, got dinged up second half, not as productive, but I think that Za'Darius is going to be energized by this new defense. I think that all the exotic blitzes, I think all the different looks, I think all the disguised coverages, I think all the games up front with Flores, I think that I had my doubts on if Danielle and Za'Darius would both be back in 2023. I think it was going to be scheme dependent, but I think Flores is going to find a way to bridge the gap and bring both of them back. I think they'll both bring heat, man. Next up, number 8, Diesel Dalvin Thompson. Now, he is a free agent, but I think that with Flores in the building, it could entice him to potentially stay. And I think that his role will be simplified. I think that maybe he's wearing too many hats at times last season. And I think that he could become a Christian Wilkins type guy in this new Flores defense going forward. Also, speaking of simplified, Harrison Phillips. So Harrison Phillips, he's not a 3-4 nose per se. But I think what he can be is a run-stuffing defensive end. I think that he could play that 4-tech, 5-tech. I think that he can be an early down dude. I think that he certainly can bring a little bit of extra pressure as well. And if the Vikings do bring in that true nose tackle, whether in free agency or the draft, I think that's really going to open things up for guys like Diesel, guys like Harrison Phillips. Like, they are going to be much more stout against the run and aggressive at setting the edge. Lastly, Viking number 10 that the Flores hire benefits, Kevin O'Connell. 100%. Where just imagine this offense paired with a defense that isn't 31st in the league. And I think that Kevin O'Connell, it is a perfect setup where O'Connell, yes, is the head coach of the team, but he's the head coach of the offense. Like, he can take care of that. The defense, have a head coach of the defense with Flores now. And I do think that their different personalities will counterbalance well. It'll be a yin and yang situation where O'Connell can be the good cop. Flores, for lack of a better term, can be the bad cop, where he is the hard ass. He is the no-nonsense dude. And Kevin O'Connell is more like the hey, what's up, buddy? I'm going to say hi to Brian O'Neill in the hallway, all that stuff. So I think overall, this is an absolute home run hire. And I think that this defense is going to transform. Like, it's going to get younger, faster, more aggressive, more in your face. And it's just, I cannot wait. I cannot wait, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Tan, Vikings that the Brian Flores hire benefits the most. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But to next time, Skol, production value.